I remember my other grandfather, he's actually a doctor in Chicago and had his own practice, and he used to tell me when I worked at the other shop, Ashton, you need to get your own shop when you get older. There's nothing like in the morning unlocking the door to your own shop and then locking the door in the evening knowing it's yours. Hello, I'm Ashton.
And I'm Brandy.
We are the owners and operators of Vagabond 4x4 and Outdoor.
This is the story of who we are and how we got started.
So I actually, we lived in Washington at the time, and then my mom, we ended up moving down here to Phoenix when I was 9, and so that's when Brandy and I met. We went to church together, parents went to church together, and so from there, Brandy and I actually grew up, same circle of friends.
I'm an Arizona native that grew up here
Yep.
my whole life. Hardly ever even vacationed outside of Arizona.
Yeah, so her borders were definitely in Arizona, so on the other hand, as I grew up though, my mom was very much into traveling, so we did a lot of traveling. One of my grandfathers was big into the outdoors, kind of gave me a love for it. But then as we became teenagers, our circle of friends stayed the same. Brandy and
A lot of us did camping trips at least once a year.
We did camping trips together, and then finally about 18 we actually started dating. Not just hanging out, but actually started dating.
And within 6 months we were married.
And within 6 months, so pretty fast, but once again.
But we knew each other basically our whole lives, so.
Basically our whole lives, exactly.
Didn't take long to realize he was the one. And when we first got married, Ashton was working at an auto repair shop, my uncle's auto repair shop actually, and I was in a landscape company. Ashton got his certifications at Kurt's Auto Repair.
Yeah, Kurt's Auto, where I got my AC certs. Another thing growing up too is I love cars. I just have always loved cars. I've always loved trucks. That's just me, just do. So, I got my certs, but at a certain extent, just changing brake pads, doing oil changes, kind of not what I had envisioned to do. I've always wanted to actually build vehicles, whether it be just something as simple as doing a bumper and some additional lighting to full-on engine swaps. So it kind of got burnt out a little bit. And Brandy, like she had mentioned, was an office manager at a landscape company. And she was like, why don't you try sales and come work for us? And so.
He was just not happy. He wasn't growing where he was. So
from there, we ended up, I went into sales, did really good.
Yeah.
We made a killer team together in the sales department. But once again, there was a lot of stress involved with it. And so from there, as on the side, out of the garage, I started just doing simple builds.
While Ashton was working with us, he still was in love with the idea of outdoors and off-roading, so he bought a $700 white Grand Cherokee.
Yep.
Did some work to it, put a lift on it, some tires.
It was a learning curve in building it. It was a very budget build friendly, but I loved it. It was fun.
Some drunk person wrecked into him and they totaled it.
It was a hit and run,
so.
yeah. It was a hit and run and they totaled it, and then.
But he was in love with the Jeeps and off-roading so much that we went and bought this mountain elephant we got now. We put lots of weekly modifications into this in the beginning. Every week we were budgeting something new on it, but.
A lot of trial and error. So
he threw our very first rooftop tent on it, a Smitty built, the cheapest one we could find, and drug me along to Colorado. I was a little hesitant about the whole idea at first, but our first night where we pulled off the highway, Ashton set up the tent in under 2 minutes or so.
Super quick.
Yeah.
Super quick.
Woke up to a beautiful morning up in the mountains in Colorado, and I was in love.
there was a thunderstorm the next night.
Yeah,
And
I
so
was
all
pretty
night, she
convinced
was
that
like,
we
"Oh,
were
we're
going to get
gonna-"
struck by lightning.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, we're gonna be fine. So that night we didn't get any sleep.
No.
But that was the only time
Yeah.
she was nervous.
I was
about
broken
sleeping
in good.
with us.
That's-
But she broke in
yeah.
good first trip, and from there, like she said, she was hooked. She loves going.
I cried on the way home. And that's
We
where we
wanted to move there
decided as a
after that.
couple that this was something we definitely wanted to do throughout the rest of our lives.
The house we were in at the time was a rental, and so it fell through. And so we're like, well, we're still young. This would be the time to.
Well, before it fell through, he started as a hobby and a stress
Right.
relief, kind of building off-road vehicles. It started out with friends. He built a Bronco up for one of our friends, put a rooftop tent on it. One of our other friends had a Dodge pickup truck. We put a rooftop tent and a bed rack on. We started getting people from outside of our direct friendship that started coming to us. And so when it got to the point where our housing situation kind of fell through, we both decided, let's just jump in both feet and see if we can get this to take off. When the
Right into
housing
it.
situation fell through, we actually already had our license, our business license, and we were already set up as dealers for Free Spirit
Yeah.
and a couple other. So when we decided to jump in both feet, we felt like we could actually get it going.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely
so
felt like so. We found the location we're at, and it was just for us at the time, it was a perfect location.
yeah.
And we actually, since we jumped in both feet, the location we had a shower in it. So we're like, you know what? Why don't we just live here
Yeah.
for 6 months, and we're not going to take a check.
Yeah.
Everything
We put
goes back into the company.
every waking moment into building Vagabond.
And sleeping moment.
Yeah,
literally.
and sleeping moments.
so opening this Vagabond, just like our customers, they're not just necessarily customers. A lot of them, they feel like family to us. Like
Yeah.
we have built really good relationships.
Yeah.
We've been fortunate to have phenomenal customers brought to us, and it's just been awesome. It's been mind blowing.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things that it just blows my mind to think about how good it's actually doing. I just never would have thought it would turn out this good in 2 years, really.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
definitely looking for the future. Definitely be awesome.